Hello everybody and welcome back to Blue Tinted Glasses for another match preview, and this time it's Preston North End away on Saturday afternoon. I'm joined by the match preview master from last season, Luke from Down Under. Mate, what's going on? How's things?
Good, thank you, sir. I'm no master, but thank you. Very kind of you.
I'm looking forward to this one because obviously we had the 3 points against Sheffield Wednesday last weekend coming from behind. We had the cup game last night against Huddersfield, which we lost on penalties. A poor performance, to be honest with you, especially in the first half again. But now we get to kind of butt our heads together and pick a team to face Preston this weekend. So I did say last week on the preview, I know you weren't here for it, Luke, that rather than in the past on match previews where we've kind of picked the 11 we think will happen, I want us now to pick an 11 that we can agree on that we think should happen, if that makes sense. So we're kind of putting together what team we think Martí Cifuentes should put out. So I'm going to come to you first, Luke, and just obviously start with the goalkeeper situation. And I don't think we're going to disagree on this. I think we both agree it is going to be Jakub Stolacic, yeah?
No arguments there, son.
Yeah. Obviously, Begovic. I was thinking Begovic might start the game, to be honest with you. I thought he might play the game against Preston last night in the Cup. Obviously, sometimes when you play the Cup games, right, you get the backup keepers coming in. But yeah, it was Stolacic. He had a couple of mistakes in him, to be fair, Luke. The typical Jakub thing, you know, where he just kind of finds himself in no man's land and has a dodgy bit of distribution and passes straight to the, to the opposition. Is that something that concerns you with Jakub, mate, the distribution? Because we know it's not as good as Hermansen's.
It was never going to be as good as Hermansen's, but I think it's still levels above what we saw under Caspar and even Everson, to be honest with you. Like, I know it's funny. Duck said, actually, ironically, for Preston that Everson just had an assist, but he, to me, was absolutely really poor on the ball. So I think people will give him a bit too much flack, although I haven't seen too much of the Huddersfield game, but I do think that he's half decent on the ball, probably thanks to Enzo and his time under him. But obviously, it's levels below Hermansen.
Yeah. The goalkeeper situation, I think, is a pretty easy one here with regards to Stolacic in goal. Now, Luke, this is going to be difficult, mate. Right back, because we saw James Justin play there against Sheffield Wednesday, and I was quite surprised. I thought it might have been Hamza who would actually play there in that role, just because of the Fiorentina game. I think he did pretty well. In pre-season in general, I think he's done well. Ricardo Pereira is still coming back from injury or just not fully fit yet. I'm not sure if he would play. What's your take on the right back situation this weekend? Because the two fit, ready to go options really at the moment are Hamza and Justin.
I'm going to say something kind of controversial, so it's going to have to be brought into the other fullback, to be honest with you. I would play Justin for this game, but I would actually play him on the other side. I think that he looked uncomfortable with Fatawu. I think he got too used to playing with Mavididi, and everything indicates, because of the team selection, we've just seen that Mavididi's going to play, so it'll be starting. So right back, I don't know what we've got to do. I want to see Woyo get a start. We haven't seen him on the bench. He's never once, to me, made me scream, we've bought a donkey. Never once have I seen him in his limited cameo appearances thought, we've bought a dud. I want to see more what he can do. As Manny likes to say, he's got fast twitch fibers. He can use both feet. He's ambidextrous. I don't want to see Hamza start. I don't want to see Justin start. I want to see Woyo start as that right back. I just threw you a curveball, didn't I?
Interesting. Yeah, there is a curveball there. I think I disagree. And the reason I think I disagree is because Woyo's not played any he played like 45 minutes in pre-season. He's clearly either just not fit, or he's not liked by the manager or the club, or he's just rubbish. We don't know, right? We saw a little bit of him last season and he looked okay. But I'm not sure, Luke, on when you've not played a game in pre-season, or you've played a very, very little game in pre-season. Also, last night against Preston, we could have played him there, and we didn't. We went for Hamza instead. I just think it's going to be one of these two, or if Ricardo is fit, him. But I imagine Ricardo would have been on the bench or something like that last night or on Sunday if he was kind of close to fitness. So I think Ricardo's out of the question here. I'm really not sure on Woyo, Luke. I'm really not sure on Woyo for this game.
Look, in a perfect world, it will be Ricardo on the right-hand side and the JJ on the left. So for argument's sake of what you've got available there, I don't want to see Hamza start. I wanted him sold. I know people really rate him. I don't care how good did against Fiorentina. He's had all these years at Leicester to make something for himself. He's nothing other than a rotation level player, squad option at championship level. He's had 2 loan spells. None of them have come in to buy him. Sheffield United didn't buy him. Watford didn't buy him. That's just his ceiling for me, just a squad option. He's just drew a penalty in the last game. He's got too many fouls in him. Sometimes there's a purpose for him, and there's certain types of games where you need him, but he's not a starter for me. So I don't think Justin had a good game last week, but I still have to go with James Justin.
Yeah. I would love to say Woyo with you, mate, but I just think this one makes a little bit more sense, to be honest. I think Woyo is such little game time in pre-season. I think it's out of the question. Moving on to the 2 centre-backs then. So last week we started with Yannick Vestergaard and Caleb Okoli. Caleb Okoli had a really tough first half, to be honest with you. I think he struggled quite a bit. It wasn't the best of games for him. Yannick Vestergaard looked much better in terms of on the ball. We know what he's like in a championship at this level. And then obviously in the second half, we lost Okoli and we saw Fast come on. Now, I think before that game and also yesterday as well, the Preston game, a lot of people were calling for Ben Nelson to play. And he had, and I'll try and put this as respectfully as possible, Luke, he had a fucking stinker against Huddersfield last night. It was really, really poor. Loads of mistakes. Should have given away 2 penalties. The ref didn't give them, but they were stonewall penalties. Mistake after mistake. Second half, he calmed down a little bit, but then again, still 1 or 2 mistakes in the second half. He looked like a liability, which is a shame. I'm not saying, I think he is still going to become a really good player. But all I'm saying, Luke, is I think if after that performance last night, I don't think Marti Cifuentes goes with him. And I want to ask you, Luke, what do you think if we saw this tomorrow on Saturday against Preston? What would you think to this?
I was about to say to you that I'm willing to give Okoli another chance, even though that I thought he was very, very poor. But with all these rumours and we're hearing that he's going to be linked to Milan and other sort of clubs and stuff like that, if he is on his way out, there's no point playing him. So if that's the case, you have to go a phase. I thought he looked good in that second half. I know you hate him. I don't like the ear cupping and stuff like that as well. But at the championship level, he is one of the better centre-backs in the league, unfortunately. I think Vestergaard's pretty much nailed on, but especially if Winks is playing. So for me, this is the centre-back pairing that I'd be going with.
I would agree. I don't like this guy here. I'm really not too bothered about Vestergaard, but yeah, I'm not his biggest fan. But after the game on Saturday, especially, I think it's a no-brainer. And Fast was good yesterday. His passing as well, Luke, is passing yesterday against Huddersfield in the Cup. That was really important. The bits of play that we did have, it did begin with Fast, and he was doing good stuff there. So I would agree with this back 2 or this back 3, so far, which takes me over to the left back, Luke. And just from looking at the players available and who we've already got up here, I know you said to play Justin on the left, but we've got him here on the right. That would mean that Luke Thomas comes in at left back still. How do you feel about that? Because there's this weird loving. Yeah. Well, there's this weird loving at the moment with Leicester fans. Some Leicester fans are just convinced he's good, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're seeing. And especially Luke, what we're seeing under this system with Marti Cifuentes is Luke Thomas is finding himself over here, right? He's underlapping a lot. He's coming inside, he's rotating with Bilal or with Mavididi, and he's finding himself in these positions and finding himself in the box. I don't think he's good enough for that, but I don't think against Sheffield Wednesday it was a bad performance, Luke. I just think he didn't stand out, if that makes sense.
He definitely got megged once or twice in that game. I think the reason why people like him is because Victor Christensen set the bar so low last season and stunk the place out so bad that he made Thomas look good. That's the reality of it. Woyo's
Yeah.
faster than Thomas. He can use both feet. I know you're not going to go for him, and it's unrealistic. My shout's still going to be Woyo. He would suit that role so much more. I want to see what he can do. But other than that, we've got no choice but to go with Luke Thomas. I don't want to see Victor Christensen, nor do you.
There's one other option though, man. It is Bade
Luka.
Aluko. You know, yeah, who had a great time in pre-season, of course, especially in one or two of the games specifically. I think it was disappointing that we didn't see this guy yesterday in the cup game. He was obviously on the bench, but I would love to see this. Although he's kind of, it feels like he can play all across the back four, right? He could play right back, centre back, left back. But yeah, I don't know, Luke. I just think with Thomas, mate, the guy you share your first name with, I feel like he will be the one that Marty goes with. And again, I don't think he's put. I don't know. If it was between Aluko and Woyo, who would you pick for this
I would
weekend?
pick. Oh, to be honest with you, Luko, he looked really good at centre back in some of those preseason games. I want Thomas Soul, to be honest with you. I don't see what anyone else sees. I think he can't pass. I think he's a poor defender. I think he's slow. I don't see what people see in him. So, sorry, to be honest with you. Like, I know he's a Leicester lad. I would pick anyone over Thomas other than Christensen.
Yeah. I just think, I think in this game, Luke, I think Thomas is going to play, and he's got an engine on him. I think that's why managers do tend to like him. Like, he played on the weekend. He played 90 minutes last night as well. Right, I just think he's got a lot in his legs, but I would agree with you that I would actually go with Aluko, to be honest, out of the two. I think
He's
away
just
at
played 90
Preston,
minutes. Yeah.
exactly, and we need to see something of Aluko. Ben Nelson had his chance last night and failed, to be honest, for the time being. He'll come back in soon, but Aluko, I think I think he deserves a chance. So I'm going to go with you, mate. I'm going to drop Thomas just for you, and I'm going to go with Aluko, which moves us on to the midfield. Now, again, the starting lineup against Sheffield Wednesday was the same as the Fiorentina game, where we saw this double pivot of Samare and Skip. The first half, mate, it went terribly, really, against Sheffield Wednesday, and Marty very quickly made this change. Again, last night, similar. Eventually, Skip did come off, and this was the midfield pairing, and we looked better. I straight away, mate, think this is what we'll see on Saturday, and I think it's probably what we should see on Saturday.
I've got no arguments with you. That's literally, I'm still not sold on Samar. We've had plenty of times to be sold on Samar. He still doesn't do it for me. I think Winks is nailed on, and I think it's now evident that we're going to need him for this season, regardless of what his wages are, if you want to go back up. Samari, who else do you replace him with? I think this is going to be the pairing.
Yeah, I mean, Skip's obviously one of the options. I'll tell you something, Luke. When Ricardo's fit, this is the dream, right? You want to see this?
Yes.
Yeah. I think
that is
we're all in
essentially
agreement
what we
with that.
saw. We just rotated position between Ricardo would be playing where JJ was, basically in the Enzo 4-3-3, out of possession, 3-2-4-1, out of in possession. So just keep Ricardo in the double pivot there when he's fit and available again.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. I think it will be this. I think this is what we will see on the weekend against Preston. So we'll lock this in. The rest of the team, mate, I think should pick itself, really, but we'll talk about it. Let's start with the number 10. So the man in demand, Bilal El Khanous. I think this is, if we could pick in a dream world, this is what we would see. This is who we would see. There is obviously doubt about his future, Luke, linked with Newcastle, linked with Palace, linked with Leeds, linked with Leipzig, Spurs even. He did come off the bench yesterday, so that, he didn't not start because of transfer rumours. He just was rested. He came on in the second half. No brainer, do you think, for this weekend? It will be Bilal El Khanous?
If somehow magically he's on his way out, I would put Jordan Ayew there. and I'd play Daka up top. It pains me to say that, but yeah, it's a no-brainer, mate. It's going to be El Khanous in the 10. If he's fit and available and he's keen to go and he's been professional the whole way throughout, he's got no indication to say otherwise. It's below El Khanous in that 10 role all day.
Yeah, totally agree. Which moves us out wide. So, have you got any... Let's start with the left, mate. So, the options, I think, are probably Jeremy Monga and Steffi Mavididi. Jeremy Monga played quite a bit yesterday. He did get booked for diving, Luke, by the way. There's a little update for you. Jeremy Monga got booked in the first half for a dive in the penalty area. But to be honest, mate, I don't know if you've seen the clips, but he tore them to shreds, to be honest with you. You know that he had them on strings because their fans were just booing the hell out of him as well, the Huddersfield fans. Very impressive performance against a League One opposition, physical side as well. But Luke, I think it's going to be Steffi Mavididi, right?
It's going to be Steffi Mavididi, and those two are basically going to be either competing for that starting 11 spot, or whoever starts that game is going to be the one that starts the next game. So essentially, you can expect Monga to come on around the 60, 70-minute mark, I would believe, and then vice versa for the subsequent week.
Yeah. And on the other side, Luke, we've got this man, Abdul Fatawu. Again, he has been subject to a bit of transfer rumour recently. Everton interested. Allegedly, according to Rob Dorset, they're going to look elsewhere because, they didn't. Our valuation of Fatawu was just way too high for them. So this guy's got to be back in, right? Because you know that he is probably at the moment, especially if Bilal leaves, our best player.
Pretty much locks. Every time we do this preview show, just have him there already on the fucking thing, dude. Don't even worry about it. It's not even up for debate. He's nailed on for the rest of the season. He's not for sale. Everyone can suck me clean off. He's ours for the season. Fatawi instantly on the starting 11 unless he's injured.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. And finally, these are the last two options, mate. Jordan Ayew, Patson Daka. Are we pretty confident it's going to be Jordan Ayew? Because I think, on the weekend, he was good. I mean, he does a lot of the link-up play. He drops deep. What I found as well so far under Marti Cifuentes is you kind of find him dropping into this position, and then you've kind of got either Justin bombing forward, or maybe you've got Sumare occupying this space, El Khanous. It's, as we know, it's kind of a positional play kind of system that Marti Cifuentes uses, a lot of rotational play. Ayew, I think, is pretty suited to that role where he can drop into different positions and either hold the ball up or his passing ability is pretty good. We saw in the second half against Sheffield Wednesday, so late into the game for a 33-year-old, picking up the ball here. And there was a kind of counter-attack where he's running down the wing, the right-hand side. You've got Bilal in the middle. He's having none of it, Jordan Ayew. He keeps going, ball into the box, and then Daka's there. So he's a bit of an engine, Luke. And I think over Daka, I think he just brings more to the team than Patson Daka does.
Absolutely. So, the only thing I will say is that, Ayew is dropping so deep. He's receiving the ball, and we're seeing him a lot in that Sheffield Wednesday game. He's actually been the recipient. Is it recipient? He's been the one that's receiving the ball from those line-breaking passes, particularly from Winks and Vestergaard. He's the one that's getting the ball. I just wish that he's good at taking the ball and turning. He's good at holding the play up. And the way Marty plays, I don't want him to be so slow. I want him to just dish it out that little bit faster. So that's why you've got the pace. So Mavididi and Fatawu can have that pace and do all the hard work for you. So dish that ball out, get yourself back in the box. Or as you mentioned before, JJ can crash the box. We've got all these rotation options. Ayew can do that job. He's smart enough. He's experienced enough. I just wish, this is being a little harsh, but I just wish he would dish that ball up that little bit faster when he receives. That's all I ask for Ayew. Everything else has been, I'm not his biggest fan, but he's been okay from what I've seen so far. He's actually had a good game against Sheffield. What do you say?
Yeah, mate, I totally agree. I think, in possession, we do end up kind of in a shape like this, right? And as you say, you've got Vestergaard here, who him and Winks just like to bounce passes off each other, as we've seen many, many times before. You've got these two midfielders here who can box crash. I mean, Samare's not quite as deep as El Khanous. It's maybe more like this, right, where you've got a 6, an 8, and a 10 under Marti Cifuentes, and then you've got players who who rotate around, as we said. Jordan Ayew sometimes kind of drops in here and is able to kind of link up play if he's playing off Winks, and then you've got Samari getting forward. So yeah, it's an interesting system, and I think out of the players that we have available, I think this is probably the one of, other than Ricardo, of course. I'm saying that the players that are available, this team is probably the best suited to play in the way we do. You've got, two incredible wingers at this level who can tear anybody apart on their day. Even James Justin, we're not his biggest fan. He's had poor performances for many years now, but at championship level, very good. Aluko is an exciting one that we're looking forward to seeing more of course. Harry Winks looked like he could leave, Luke. Like, this is a thing, mate. Like, we said, if you asked us 2 weeks ago, Harry Winks is going to leave, Luke, I think a lot of us would have said, not really too bothered. But after the first 2 games, it's going to be a big miss if he leaves, Luke. And I will say as well, a bit of an update for you. Last night when he scored, there was no celebration, straight face. He did smile, but he didn't seem very happy to be on the pitch, mate, to be honest.
You could argue that, but he was not pulling out of challenges in the Sheffield Wednesday game. I would have defended him before. You say I wouldn't be bothered. I would have been bothered at championship level. I really would have been. Like, I know I slacked him off a little bit, but at championship level, after you put in that performance against Sheffield Wednesday, we need to hang on to him. I know his wages are too high, but the cost is going to be great. So I'm not saying the whole season is dictated on Harry Winks, but he's a huge part to play if he plays like the way he did against Sheffield Wednesday. He dictates everything in that midfield. He's very important to me in this championship season.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap up here, Luke. This is the team we've gone with. On paper, a very strong team at championship level, much better than Preston North Ends, of course. What if I had to get a score prediction out of you, mate? What would you go with for this weekend?
I still can see a mistake in us. I'm going to go for Leicester City 3, Preston 1. I want to go for the jugular this game, Locks.
I think we have to, Luke. Yeah, I think we have to, because already, mate, there's doubt setting in for some fans. And I think it's harsh. I think Marti Cifuentes is so early. I put a tweet out last night explaining that, this was never going to start as successfully as Enzo Ball. Enzo had a full pre-season. Enzo had his transfer business wrapped up before the first game. Whereas Marti Cifuentes has come in late to pre-season, and he's got a squad that's unsettled. He's got a squad, he doesn't even know what players are going to be here on the 1st of September. I think, Luke, for the whole of August, it's going to be a bit hit and miss. I don't necessarily mean the results, but I mean more the performances, because, how can you... Marty's juggling 2 things here. He's juggling his best 11, but he's also juggling probably players that want to be here and don't want to be here, right? I think Winks maybe would have started last weekend if he was fully committed. Maybe Winks isn't fully committed. There's talk of him maybe leaving. So it's difficult for Marty. I think it's too harsh for people to start judging or being critical this early. I think, after a few more games, once the squad's settled down a little bit, and maybe we've brought another player in, who knows, I think that's when we'll know for sure, what ceiling, mate, that we have under Marty. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I agree with everything you said at the start. So yeah, definitely it was a lot more settled when Enzo came in. We got all the players out early. We got him in early. Had a much better preseason. The only thing I am still quite doubtful, I definitely think that it's going to be exciting football. It's also going to be stressful as well in the championship. Yeah. I will say this straight away though. I'm behind Marty. I like the subs he made. It's only been 1 game. But again, I know it's only 1 game. But from what I've seen, the style we're playing, I do not think Marty is the man for us if we get promoted. That's if we get promoted to the Premier League. People say I don't think Enzo Ball would have worked in the Premier League. I strongly disagree. Marty Ball in the Premier League, huge asterisk for me, mate. It really is. Just because of how crazy we play. I know it's end-to-end and it's exciting, but with the quality of the Premier League and separating from the Championship, getting bigger and bigger every season, I think we'd get torn to shreds with Marty Ball in the Premier League if we were to get promoted.
Would you not say though that Marty Ball is actually it is more, because the way I would look at that, Luke, quickly is I would say Marty Ball is more suited to the Premier League for Leicester because, with Enzo Ball, for example, you're not going to dominate every game in the Premier League. Whereas with Marty, it does rely quite a bit on transitions, and I think, as a newly promoted team, as the underdogs in a game, in a division, in a game, I think the transitional play does kind of suit one of them teams, if that makes sense. Like yes, it's end to end. Yes, we'll get absolutely fucked on the counter ourselves. It'll be end to end, but I just feel like that will also benefit us as well with quick wingers, counter attacks. Whereas you look at the difference last season with Cooper or with Ruud van Nistelrooy, especially, it was just so slow. There wasn't really a transition from Leicester City, but I think we'd get that under Marty in the Premier League.
I understand what you're saying. Like, it's nice to see a lot more rotation of players and like somewhat of a build-up play. We're working together. The problem is that we can't string a pass together anywhere near to the quality that we saw under Enzo Maresca. So we can't control the ball. And if it's going to be end-to-end and we're going to play as fast as we are, we're still struggling now under Marty to like. I know we had a lot of possession, but to me, it didn't feel like we had 70% possession against Sheffield Wednesday, particularly in that first half. It just felt like we're turning the ball over a lot. There's a lot of heavy first touches because of how hard we're passing to the ball, because of the speed that he's obviously drilling into the boys. Again, Locks, it's early days, mate. I could be way off of this and like being a bit of a doom and gloom kind of guy. I just from what I've seen, it's a bit of an asterisk for me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm sitting here viewing 6 to 8 weeks time, fully on the Paella hype train. But just from what I've seen so far, it's going to be exciting for the championship, but it's one to watch.
Absolutely. Well, your score prediction was 3-1. I'm going to go for 2-0. I'm going to go for 2-0 this weekend against Preston. A nice, comfortable win, I think. Of course, there'll be some heart-stopping moments, I'm sure, on the counter and stuff. But I think we'll be all right. I think we'll get the 3 points and move on to the next one. Cheers, Luke, for joining me. Everybody in the chat, or everybody watching, sorry. We will be live on Saturday for the watch-along from 2:45 p.m. where we'll watch the Preston game. So all the best. Cheers again, Luke. Thanks, mate, and we'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.